If you do not take control of your day, something else will. There is no neutral ground when it comes to time management. Either you impose order on your time or chaos fills the void. People often assume that life naturally falls into place, that the important things will somehow get done if they just maintain good intentions. But that is not true. Time is constantly slipping away, and if you do not take charge of it with a deliberate and structured approach, you will find yourself at the mercy of external demands, distractions, and meaningless activities. Structure is not a form of restriction. It is a necessary foundation for freedom. Without it, you will be pulled in 1,000 different directions, reacting to everything around you instead of making real progress toward what actually matters. Most people drift through their days without a clear plan. They wake up, check their phones, respond to messages, scroll through social media, and suddenly an hour has disappeared. They jump from one minor task to another, never taking the time to define what truly needs to be accomplished. They operate in a constant state of reactivity, responding to emails as they arrive, saying yes to requests without considering the cost, and allowing distractions to dictate the flow of their time. They believe they are being productive because they are always busy, but they are not making meaningful progress. They are simply maintaining the illusion of work, keeping themselves occupied without ever truly advancing. Busyness is not productivity. It is often a way to avoid the difficult, high-impact tasks that actually move life forward. A structured day does not mean a rigid, oppressive schedule that allows no room for flexibility. It means designing your time in a way that ensures your most important priorities are addressed before the trivial and mundane consume your attention. It means creating a hierarchy of tasks, organizing them based on urgency and significance, and allocating time accordingly. It means recognizing that not all activities are of equal value, that some things must take precedence while others must be eliminated entirely. Structure is not about micromanaging every second of your day. It is about ensuring that the truly meaningful work gets done while minimizing the influence of chaos and distraction. The mind craves structure, even if people resist it. When you do not set a plan, your mind becomes scattered, overwhelmed by all the possibilities, unable to focus on anything deeply. This leads to decision fatigue, where even small choices begin to drain mental energy. When there is no clear structure to follow, everything becomes a decision, and too many decisions lead to paralysis. The more you plan in advance, the more mental energy you conserve for actual work, rather than constantly deciding what to do next. Planning removes uncertainty, allowing you to act with greater clarity and efficiency. One of the most powerful habits you can develop is planning your day the night before. When you take a few minutes each evening to define the next day's priorities, you eliminate the morning struggle of figuring out what needs to be done. You wake up with a clear direction, already knowing where to focus your energy. This reduces procrastination because there is no ambiguity. The more specific your plan, the easier it is to execute. Instead of vague goals like work on my project or be productive, you set precise actions like write 500 words for my report or review and revise the first section of my proposal. When tasks are clearly defined, resistance decreases and action becomes more automatic. Time blocking is another essential strategy for structuring your day. Instead of simply listing tasks, you assign specific time slots for each one. This forces you to be realistic about how much you can actually accomplish in a day and prevents tasks from expanding indefinitely. When you allocate time for deep, focused work, you create the conditions necessary for meaningful progress. Without these dedicated blocks, your attention will be scattered by emails, notifications, and interruptions. Focus is a fragile resource, and if you do not protect it, it will be stolen by the endless stream of distractions that modern life presents. The ability to say no is also a critical component of structuring your day. Every time you say yes to something unimportant, you are saying no to something that actually matters. Many people struggle with this because they want to be agreeable, to accommodate others, to avoid conflict. But constantly agreeing to requests and obligations that do not align with your priorities is a guaranteed way to lose control of your time. You must develop the discipline to guard your schedule ruthlessly, to decline commitments that do not serve your higher goals, to recognize that your time is your most valuable asset and should not be given away carelessly. This is not selfish, it is necessary. If you do not protect your time, no one else will. Another key aspect of structuring your day is recognizing the importance of routines. Routines eliminate decision fatigue, streamline efficiency, and create consistency in your life. When you have a structured morning routine, you do not waste time figuring out how to start your day. When you have a structured work routine, you do not waste energy deciding what to do first. The more you automate through habitual behavior, the more mental bandwidth you free up for higher order thinking and creativity. Successful people do not reinvent their schedule every day. They follow systems that allow them to operate at a high level consistently. Accountability also plays a crucial role in maintaining structure. When you have clear goals but no accountability, it is easy to drift, to rationalize procrastination, to let distractions take over. Having a system of accountability, whether through tracking your progress, setting deadlines, or involving others, helps keep you committed to your schedule. When there are consequences for failing to follow through, you are far more likely to stay disciplined. This is why external commitments, such as scheduled meetings or public deadlines, often drive action more effectively than internal ones. But the ultimate goal is to develop self-accountability, to reach a point where your own standards are enough to keep you on track. Technology can either support or sabotage your ability to structure your day. If you allow notifications, emails, and social media to dictate your attention, your schedule will always be reactive rather than proactive. You must take control of your digital environment, eliminating unnecessary interruptions, setting specific times for checking messages, and using tools that help you stay organized rather than ones that steal your focus. Your phone is either a productivity tool or a distraction machine. It depends on how you use it. The same applies to your workspace. If your environment is cluttered, disorganized, or filled with distractions, your mind will reflect that. Creating a structured workspace supports a structure. One of the greatest benefits of structuring your time is that it creates momentum. When you consistently follow a well-organized schedule, productivity becomes a habit rather than a struggle. Small wins accumulate, leading to greater confidence, efficiency, and progress. When your days are structured well, your weeks become productive. When your weeks become productive, your months and years move in the right direction. Over time, this compounds into significant achievements. The alternative is drifting, letting time slip away, and looking back with regret at the opportunities that were wasted. Mastering time management is not about squeezing every minute for maximum output. It is about ensuring that the important things get done before distractions and trivialities consume your attention. It is about creating a framework that allows you to act with purpose rather than react aimlessly. The people who achieve the most in life are not necessarily the ones who work the hardest, but the ones who structure their time most effectively. This structure is not the enemy of creativity or freedom. It is the foundation that makes them possible. You cannot do everything. This is one of the most difficult truths people struggle to accept. There are only so many hours in a day, and your energy is finite. If you attempt to take on every task, respond to every request, and say yes to everything that comes your way, you will find yourself drowning in obligations that do not move you forward. Time is not something you can stretch indefinitely, and if you do not make a deliberate effort to prioritize what is truly important, your life will become cluttered with trivialities. Productivity is not about doing more, it is about doing the right things. It is about focusing on the tasks that have the greatest impact while eliminating or delegating the ones that do not contribute meaningfully to your progress. Most people operate under the illusion that being busy is the same as being productive. They fill their days with minor tasks, checking emails, attending unimportant meetings, running errands, responding to messages, and maintaining the appearance of hard work. But in reality, they are making little progress. They are stuck in a cycle of low-value activities, never getting to the work that truly matters. This is why prioritization is essential. It forces you to distinguish between what is truly necessary and what is simply noise. If you do not take control of this process, other people's demands, distractions, and the endless stream of minor obligations will consume your time before you ever get to the things that could actually improve your future. One of the most powerful frameworks for prioritization is the Pareto principle, which states that 80% of your results come from just 20% of your efforts. This means that most of what you do is not actually contributing much to your success. The challenge is identifying which tasks belong in that 20%, the activities that generate disproportionate results, and focusing your time and energy on those. This requires a deep level of self-awareness. It means asking yourself every single day what the most important task is. If you could only accomplish one thing today that would move you forward, what would it be? This single question eliminates unnecessary distractions and brings clarity to your priorities. It forces you to stop wasting time on things that are urgent but not important, things that feel productive but are actually just busy work. Decisiveness is critical in prioritization. Many people hesitate when making choices about how to spend their time. They get caught in analysis paralysis, overthinking every decision, trying to weigh every possibility before taking action. But time does not wait for perfect decisions. Prioritization is about making the best possible decision with the information available and moving forward without hesitation. If you spend too much time debating which task to do first, you have already lost valuable time that could have been spent executing. This is why high performers make quick, confident decisions about what is most important, adjust as needed, and move forward without wasting energy on endless deliberation. One of the biggest obstacles to effective prioritization is the inability to say no. Many people struggle with this because they do not want to disappoint others, because they feel obligated to take on every request, because they believe that saying yes is the path to more opportunities. But the reality is that every yes is a no to something else. Every commitment you take on consumes time and energy that could have been spent on something more valuable. If you do not learn to say no to tasks, requests, and distractions that do not align with your goals, you will never have enough time for the things that do. Successful people are ruthless with their time. They do not agree to unnecessary meetings. They do not take on obligations that do not serve their greater mission. And they do not allow themselves to be pulled in directions that lead nowhere. Delegation is another essential part of prioritization. You cannot do everything yourself, nor should you. If there are tasks that others can do more efficiently, more effectively, or at a lower cost to your time, then you must learn to let go of control and delegate those responsibilities. Many people resist this because they believe that no one else can do the job as well as they can. But perfectionism is often just a form of procrastination. If you insist on doing everything yourself, you will never have time for the high-impact work that only you can do. The key is to focus your energy on the areas where you provide the greatest value and let others handle the rest. This is not a weakness. It is a necessity for anyone who wants to operate at a high level. Prioritization also requires recognizing the difference between long-term and short-term rewards. Many people prioritize immediate gratification over meaningful progress. They choose easy tasks over difficult ones, urgent tasks over important ones, reactive tasks over proactive ones. This is a mistake. The most important work is often the most difficult, and it rarely provides instant rewards. Writing a book, building a business, mastering a skill, these things take time, effort, and patience. They do not provide the immediate sense of accomplishment that checking an email or completing a simple task does. But if you consistently choose what is easy over what is meaningful, you will find yourself stuck in an endless loop of minor accomplishments, never making real progress toward your biggest goals. Discipline plays a crucial role in prioritization. It is not enough to simply know what is most important. You must also have the discipline to act on that knowledge. Many people make detailed to-do lists, rank their tasks in order of importance, and then proceed to ignore them entirely, defaulting to the path of least resistance. They let distractions pull them away from their priorities. They allow themselves to get caught up in small tasks that feel urgent but are ultimately inconsequential. Discipline is what separates those who succeed from those who simply make plans. It is the ability to sit down, focus, and do the hard work even when you do not feel like it. It is the refusal to let minor distractions derail major goals. It is the commitment to following through on priorities no matter how difficult, tedious, or inconvenient they may be. One of the best ways to maintain focus on your priorities is through daily reflection. At the end of each day, taking the time to review what you accomplished, what you prioritized correctly, and where you allowed distractions to interfere can provide valuable insights. This process forces accountability. If you consistently find yourself spending time on low-value tasks, if you notice that your most important work is being postponed day after day, it is a sign that your priorities are not being enforced. Self-awareness is the key to improvement. If you do not take the time to reflect on where your time is actually going, you will never be able to optimize it. Environment plays a significant role in prioritization. If you are constantly surrounded by distractions, if your workspace is cluttered, if your phone is filled with notifications demanding your attention, you will struggle to focus on what is important. Your environment should support your priorities, not work against them. This means setting up a workspace that minimizes interruptions, eliminating unnecessary distractions, and creating an atmosphere where deep work is possible. If you allow constant interruptions, your ability to focus will be destroyed, and no amount of prioritization will be enough to compensate for that loss. Ultimately, prioritization is a skill that determines the trajectory of your life. The way you allocate your time, the choices you make about what to focus on, the discipline you apply to ensuring that important tasks are completed, these are the factors that separate those who achieve great things from those who remain stuck in mediocrity. Success is not about doing everything. It is about doing the right things and doing them consistently. If you do not take control of your priorities, someone else will. And if you spend your life focusing on what is urgent rather than what is important, you will reach the end of it wondering why you never accomplished the things that truly mattered. People assume they must feel ready to take action before they begin, but that is a deeply flawed way of thinking. If you wait until you feel ready, you will never start. Readiness is not a prerequisite for action, it is a result of action. The idea that motivation must come first is one of the most damaging beliefs a person can hold because it creates a cycle of perpetual inaction. You tell yourself that you will start tomorrow, that you need to feel more inspired, that the conditions must be perfect. But perfection never arrives. There will always be discomfort, uncertainty, and resistance, and if you allow these feelings to dictate your behavior, you will remain stagnant. The only way to break free from this cycle is to act despite discomfort, to move forward before you feel prepared, and to understand that confidence and competence emerge from action, not the other way around. Procrastination is not merely a time management problem, it is an emotional regulation problem. People avoid tasks not because they are inherently lazy, but because those tasks trigger uncomfortable emotions. Fear of failure, self-doubt, uncertainty, boredom, perfectionism, these psychological barriers create resistance. And instead of pushing through, people engage in avoidance behaviors. They scroll through their phones, check social media, clean their desks, do anything except the thing that actually matters. They tell themselves that they will start later, that they will be more productive after a break, that they need just a little more time to prepare. But this is self-deception. The more you avoid a task, the larger it grows in your mind. It becomes an intimidating mountain rather than a simple action, and avoidance reinforces the belief that you are incapable of handling it. The longer you put something off, the harder it becomes to start. The only way to overcome procrastination is to reduce the threshold for action. If a task feels overwhelming, break it down into the smallest possible step. Instead of saying, I need to write a 10-page paper, say, I will write 1 sentence. Instead of thinking, I have to exercise for an hour, say, I will do 5 push-ups. Once you begin, momentum takes over. The hardest part of any task is starting, and once you break that initial resistance, the rest follows more easily. Action precedes motivation. You do not wait to feel inspired to act. You act, and inspiration follows. This is why successful people do not rely on motivation. They rely on discipline and momentum. The human brain is wired to seek immediate gratification, and this is one of the greatest challenges in overcoming procrastination. The tasks that truly matter, the ones that shape your future, often do not provide instant rewards. Studying for an exam, working on a long-term project, building a skill, developing a business. These activities require sustained effort with no immediate payoff. Meanwhile, distractions offer instant pleasure. Checking your phone, watching a video, scrolling through social media. All of these activities provide immediate dopamine hits, making them far more appealing in the short term. This is why so many people struggle to focus. Their brains are addicted to instant rewards, and meaningful work feels dull and unappealing by comparison. One of the most effective ways to counteract this is by making work more immediately rewarding. Set small, achievable goals and create a system of immediate reinforcement. Instead of saying, I will work for 4 hours, say, I will complete this one task and then take a 5-minute break. Use a timer to create structured work sessions. The Pomodoro technique, which involves 25-minute focused work periods followed by short breaks, is a powerful tool for overcoming procrastination because it removes the feeling of endless work. The brain can commit to short bursts of effort, and once you start, you often find yourself wanting to continue. Progress itself becomes motivating, and small wins accumulate into meaningful achievements. Your environment also plays a critical role in overcoming procrastination. If you surround yourself with distractions, you are setting yourself up for failure. Your phone, your notifications, the clutter on your desk, these all contribute to avoidance behaviors. Creating an environment that minimizes distractions is essential. This means turning off notifications, setting clear boundaries, and structuring your workspace in a way that encourages deep focus. If you have to exert willpower constantly to resist distractions, you will eventually lose. The most productive people do not have more willpower than others. They simply design their environments to support their goals. Another key to overcoming procrastination is accountability. When you keep your goals to yourself, there are no real consequences for failing to follow through. But when you make commitments to others, when you set deadlines that involve external accountability, you create pressure that forces you to take action. This is why people perform better when they have coaches, mentors, or accountability partners. The fear of letting someone else down is often stronger than the fear of letting yourself down. If you struggle to stay on track, find ways to introduce external accountability into your life. Announce your goals publicly, commit to deadlines, involve others in your progress. The more visible your commitments, the harder they are to ignore. Perfectionism is another major driver of procrastination. Many people delay starting a task because they fear it will not be good enough. They tell themselves that they need more time to prepare, that they must wait until they can do it perfectly. But perfectionism is an illusion. Nothing is ever perfect. And waiting for ideal conditions is just a sophisticated form of procrastination. The only way to improve is through action, through iteration, through embracing imperfection and refining over time. The best writers do not produce flawless first drafts. They write messy drafts and then edit. The best entrepreneurs do not launch perfect businesses. They start, learn, and adjust. The best athletes do not wait until they feel ready to compete. They train, push themselves, and grow through experience. Progress, not perfection, should be the goal. It is also important to recognize the long-term consequences of procrastination. Every time you delay action, you reinforce the habit of avoidance. You train your brain to associate difficult tasks with discomfort, making them even harder to approach in the future. The longer you avoid something, the more power it gains over you. But the opposite is also true. Every time you take action, despite resistance, you weaken the hold procrastination has on you. You build the habit of forward momentum. Over time, taking action becomes your default state rather than avoidance. The more you practice immediate execution, the easier it becomes to act without hesitation. Fear is often at the root of procrastination. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of making the wrong decision. These anxieties keep people stuck in inaction. But fear is only diminished through exposure. The more you confront difficult tasks, the more you realize that fear is just an illusion. Most of the things you worry about never actually happen. Failure is rarely as catastrophic as your mind imagines. And even when things do go wrong, you learn, adapt, and grow stronger. Avoiding challenges does not make them disappear. It makes them more intimidating. Facing them head-on is the only way to gain control over them. Mastering the ability to act before you feel ready is one of the most valuable skills you can develop. Those who achieve great things are not the ones who wait for inspiration. They are the ones who show up every day, regardless of how they feel. They understand that discomfort is temporary, that resistance fades with action, that progress is built through consistent effort. They do not allow fear, uncertainty, or self-doubt to dictate their choices. They act, and in doing so, they transform themselves. Most people fail to manage their time effectively because they do not have a structured system in place. They move through their days reacting to whatever comes their way rather than proactively deciding how to allocate their time. Without a system, they become overwhelmed by the sheer number of tasks demanding their attention, leading to procrastination, inefficiency, and stress. A structured system creates clarity. It allows you to see exactly what needs to be done, when it needs to be done, and how it fits into your larger goals. Without structure, your mind becomes cluttered, constantly trying to hold on to unfinished tasks, making it difficult to focus on anything with full attention. One of the simplest and most effective systems for time management is scheduling your time in advance. If you do not decide ahead of time what you will do with your hours, your day will be dictated by distractions, interruptions, and the demands of others. Instead of allowing chaos to take control, structure your time intentionally. At the start of each day, or even better, the night before, create a plan, identify your key priorities, and assign specific blocks of time to each task. This is not about rigidly controlling every minute, but about ensuring that the most important things are accounted for. If you fail to schedule your priorities, they will be pushed aside by lesser tasks that seem urgent but are ultimately unimportant. When you create a schedule, you must be realistic. Many people make the mistake of overloading their schedules with too many tasks, setting themselves up for failure. They underestimate how long things will take, and when they inevitably fall behind, they feel frustrated and demotivated. This is why it is essential to build flexibility into your schedule. Expect that things will take longer than you anticipate. Give yourself breathing room. If you pack your day with back-to-back tasks and leave no space for interruptions, you will constantly feel like you are falling behind. A good schedule balances discipline with adaptability, ensuring that priorities are met while leaving room for the unexpected. A major problem people face when implementing a structured system is the belief that they need to be constantly working. Productivity is not about doing more, it is about doing what matters most. If you are constantly busy but not making meaningful progress, your system is broken. Many people fall into the trap of filling their time with low-value activities that give the illusion of productivity but do not contribute to their real goals. Checking emails, attending unnecessary meetings, responding to messages. These things may feel important, but if they dominate your schedule, you will never have time for deep, focused work. A structured system forces you to separate what is truly essential from what is merely noise. To make your system work, you must learn to protect your time. It is not enough to simply schedule important tasks, you must also defend them from distractions. If you do not set boundaries, your most valuable hours will be consumed by interruptions. This means turning off notifications, setting specific times for communication, and being intentional about when and how you engage with distractions. Many people spend their best hours, the hours when their energy and focus are highest, on trivial tasks, leaving their most important work for the end of the day when they are mentally exhausted. This is an inefficient use of time. Structure your system in a way that aligns your highest value tasks with your peak energy periods. A crucial aspect of structuring your time is setting clear deadlines. Without deadlines, tasks tend to expand indefinitely. This is known as Parkinson's law, the idea that work expands to fill the time available for its completion. If you give yourself all day to complete a task that should take an hour, it will take all day. But if you give yourself a strict time limit, you force yourself to focus, eliminate distractions, and get it done efficiently. Deadlines create urgency, and urgency drives action. Set specific, non-negotiable deadlines for your most important tasks and hold yourself accountable to them. One of the biggest mistakes people make with their structured systems is failing to review and adjust them regularly. A system is not something you create once and never change. It is something you refine over time. Every week, take time to review how well your system is working. Are you consistently meeting your priorities? Are there recurring distractions that need to be eliminated? Are there inefficiencies that need to be improved? A good system evolves. If you blindly follow a structure that is not producing results, you will become trapped in unproductive habits. Reflection and adjustment are essential components of maintaining a system that actually serves you. Many people resist structuring their time because they believe it will make them feel restricted, but the opposite is true. A well-structured system provides freedom. When you know exactly what needs to be done and when, you eliminate decision fatigue. You no longer waste mental energy constantly deciding what to do next. This frees your mind to focus entirely on the task at hand. Structure also reduces stress. When you have a clear plan, you do not have to carry the mental burden of unfinished tasks weighing on you. You can fully engage in the present moment because you know that everything important has been accounted for. Another key element of an effective structured system is batching similar tasks together. Switching between different types of work requires a mental reset, which consumes time and energy. If you constantly jump between unrelated tasks, writing an email, making a phone call, working on a project, checking messages, you create unnecessary cognitive strain. Instead, group similar tasks together. Set aside a specific time for emails, another block for deep work, another for meetings. This minimizes the inefficiencies of task swapping and allows you to enter a state of deep focus more easily. A structured system also helps you measure progress. When your time is organized, you can clearly see what you have accomplished and what still needs to be done. This sense of progress is crucial for motivation. Many people feel stuck because they do not track their achievements, making it seem as though they are not making any real progress. But when you have a system in place that records your completed tasks and milestones, you gain a sense of momentum. Small wins accumulate, reinforcing the habit of consistent effort. It is important to recognize that no system will work perfectly all the time. There will be days when things do not go as planned, when emergencies arise, when unexpected demands throw your schedule off track. The key is to not let these moments derail you entirely. When disruptions occur, adapt and reset. Do not use them as an excuse to abandon your structure. Instead, return to your system as soon as possible and adjust where necessary. The goal is consistency, not perfection. If you want to take control of your time, you must commit to a structured approach. Without a system, your days will be dictated by distractions and external demands. But when you intentionally organize your time, set clear priorities, protect your focus, and regularly refine your approach, you gain control over your life. Structure is not a constraint. It is the foundation for achieving meaningful progress.